Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Young and the Restless channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now let's jump straight into today's exciting update. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that a surprising and potentially explosive shift may be taking shape within the Newman Empire, and at the center of it all stands an unlikely figure, Matt Clark. For someone who once caused so much pain, chaos, and turmoil for the Newman family, Matt's current position feels almost impossible to believe. There was a time when no one could have imagined Victor Newman showing him even a shred of mercy, let alone extending an opportunity for redemption. The memories of Matt's mistakes still linger like dark shadows over Genoa City, and the damage he inflicted on the Newmans remains difficult to forget. Yet despite everything that happened, Victor appears to be looking at Matt through a very different lens now, and that unexpected change could have consequences that ripple throughout the entire family. What makes the situation even more remarkable is the fact that Victor had every reason to destroy Matt's future completely. This is a man known for protecting his family at all costs, a man who rarely forgives betrayal and almost never forgets it. Victor could have handed Matt over to the authorities and watched him face the full weight of the consequences for his actions. He could have cut him out of his life forever without a second thought. In the eyes of many, he would have been fully justified in doing so. Instead, Victor has chosen a far different path, one that seems rooted in second chances, accountability, and a belief that even someone as deeply flawed as Matt might still have value if he is willing to earn it. Now, rather than treating Matt like an enemy, Victor is allowing him an opportunity to make amends through Kane Ashby's intricate spy-related schemes and operations. Matt has accepted that chance with surprising humility, following orders and doing everything possible to prove that he understands the magnitude of his mistakes. There is no arrogance in his approach anymore, no reckless confidence that once fueled his downfall. Instead, there is a quieter version of Matt emerging, one defined by regret and determination. Every assignment becomes another opportunity to rebuild trust. Every task completed becomes another small step toward redemption. And while the road ahead remains uncertain, Matt appears committed to proving that he is no longer the man who once threatened everything the Newmans held dear. As viewers watch this transformation unfold, many fans cannot help noticing a fascinating parallel developing beneath the surface. In some ways, Matt seems to be stepping into a role that once belonged almost exclusively to Adam Newman. For years, Adam occupied a complicated place in Victor's world. He was the troubled son, the difficult son, the one constantly fighting to prove himself worthy of his father's respect. Their relationship was often defined by conflict, disappointment, and endless attempts at redemption. Adam repeatedly found himself working to regain Victor's trust, struggling to demonstrate that he deserved a place within the Newman inner circle. Now, strangely enough, Matt appears to be walking a very similar path. The resemblance is impossible to ignore. Matt has become a man seeking Victor's approval, measuring his progress by the trust Victor is willing to place in him. The dynamic feels increasingly familiar, almost as though Victor has found a new project, someone else to challenge, shape, and potentially elevate. What makes the situation even more intriguing is how receptive Victor seems to be. Rather than maintaining emotional distance, he appears genuinely interested in Matt's growth. There are moments when Victor's behavior goes beyond simple tolerance and edges into something much warmer. He sees a man who understands his failures, accepts responsibility for them, and is working tirelessly to become better. For Victor Newman, who values strength and perseverance above nearly everything else, those qualities carry significant weight. The growing bond between them has begun to feel less like a temporary arrangement and more like the beginning of a lasting alliance. Victor's attitude toward Matt is noticeably kinder than many would consider necessary. There is a patience in his interactions, a willingness to guide rather than punish. It is almost as though Victor has come to appreciate this newer, humbler version of Matt. The man standing before him now is not the reckless troublemaker who once wreaked havoc. Instead, he is someone who openly acknowledges his failures and appears determined never to repeat them. That transformation may be exactly what Victor respects most. In fact, the more trust Victor places in Matt, the more it seems possible that this relationship could evolve into something far more significant. If Matt continues down this path, he may eventually find himself occupying a powerful position within Victor's world. The possibility that once seemed absurd now feels increasingly realistic. Victor has always surrounded himself with people he trusts absolutely, individuals willing to carry out his vision and protect his interests. Matt could be positioning himself to become one of those people. What starts as a second chance could eventually transform into a permanent role at Victor's side. The former outsider might become a trusted confidant, someone involved in critical decisions and private strategies. Such a rise would not only reshape Matt's future, but could fundamentally alter the balance of power within the Newman family itself. And that possibility is where the real drama begins. Because even if Victor decides Matt deserves redemption, convincing the rest of the Newman family will be an entirely different challenge. Old wounds do not heal overnight, especially wounds as deep as the ones Matt created. Nick Newman and several other members of the family are unlikely to welcome him with open arms. They may acknowledge that he has changed. They may even admit that his efforts toward redemption are sincere. But forgiveness is a very different matter from acceptance. Trust is not something that can simply be granted because Victor says so, and many Newmans may never feel comfortable allowing Matt anywhere near the family's inner circle. The tension could become even more intense if Matt begins receiving responsibilities traditionally associated with Adam. Few people would be more affected by such a development than Adam Newman himself. Adam has spent years fighting for his place within his father's empire, enduring setbacks, betrayals, and painful reconciliations along the way. If he starts to believe that Matt is becoming his replacement, the emotional fallout could be enormous. Feelings of resentment, jealousy, and betrayal could quickly surface. Adam may view Victor's growing confidence in Matt not as an opportunity for redemption, but as a direct threat to his own standing. What begins as professional competition could easily evolve into a deeply personal conflict with far-reaching consequences. The situation becomes even more complicated when considering Victor's history of making bold and controversial decisions. It is not difficult to imagine him eventually placing Matt in a position of significant authority. One possibility that could send shockwaves throughout the Newman family involves Newman Media. After Adam and Chelsea Lawson work to rebuild the company, Victor might decide that Matt deserves a leadership opportunity. Such a move would undoubtedly ignite fierce reactions. For Adam, it could feel like a devastating betrayal. For others, it could appear as though Victor is rewarding someone whose past actions should never be forgotten. The resulting conflict would have all the ingredients necessary for a major family war. As Victor's faith in Matt continues to grow, so does the potential for division among those closest to him. Every gesture of trust, every new responsibility, and every sign of approval could become another source of friction. The Newman family has never been known for handling controversial decisions quietly, and Victor's support of Matt may become one of his most controversial choices yet. Some family members may see redemption, others may see recklessness. Some may believe Matt has earned a second chance, while others remain convinced that certain mistakes should never be forgiven. Those opposing perspectives could create emotional battles that stretch far beyond business concerns and into the very heart of the family itself. For now, the future remains uncertain, but one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Matt Clark may be carving out a place for himself that few people ever expected him to achieve. What began as an effort to atone for past mistakes is slowly evolving into something much larger. With Victor Newman standing firmly in his corner, Matt could find himself becoming more than an ally, more than an employee, and perhaps even more than a trusted associate. He may be on the verge of becoming an honorary Newman in all but name, yet if that future truly lies ahead, it will almost certainly come at a price. Because in Genoa City, every act of redemption creates new enemies, every shift in loyalty sparks fresh conflict, and every unexpected alliance has the power to change everything. As this unexpected relationship continues to evolve, the atmosphere surrounding the Newman family grows increasingly charged with uncertainty. What began as a practical arrangement between Victor Newman and Matt Clark is slowly taking on deeper meaning, and the people around them are starting to notice. There is a growing sense that Victor no longer sees Matt merely as a man trying to repay a debt. Instead, he seems to view him as someone with genuine potential, someone who may still have an important role to play despite the darkness of his past. That shift in perspective is subtle, but in Victor's world, subtle changes often lead to massive consequences. The more confidence Victor places in Matt, the more questions arise about what his ultimate intentions might be. For Matt, the opportunity is both a gift and a burden. Every step forward comes with the weight of his history hanging over him like a storm cloud that refuses to disappear. No matter how hard he works or how many orders he follows, there will always be people who remember exactly who he used to be. There will always be those who look at him and see the mistakes rather than the progress. Yet Matt seems to understand that reality better than anyone. Instead of demanding acceptance, he appears willing to earn every ounce of trust, one painful step at a time. That humility may be one of the very qualities that has captured Victor's attention and fueled his belief that redemption is possible. Meanwhile, whispers of concern could begin spreading throughout the Newman family as Victor's confidence in Matt becomes more obvious. Family members who have spent years navigating Victor's unpredictable decisions know all too well how quickly his trust can translate into power. They understand that when Victor believes in someone, he rarely does things halfway. If he truly sees a future for Matt within his inner circle, that future could arrive much sooner than anyone expects. Such a possibility would force every Newman to confront uncomfortable questions about loyalty, forgiveness, and the limits of redemption. It would also challenge long-standing assumptions about who deserves a place within the empire Victor spent decades building. Nick Newman, in particular, may struggle with the situation more than most. Nick has always been fiercely protective of his family and deeply skeptical of people who have caused them pain. Even if he recognizes the changes in Matt, that recognition may not be enough to erase the damage already done. Every interaction could become a reminder of old wounds. Every sign of Victor's approval could feel like a dismissal of everything the family endured because of Matt's actions. Nick may find himself caught between respecting his father's judgment and remaining true to his own convictions. That internal conflict alone has the potential to create emotional fireworks throughout the Newman household. At the same time, Adam Newman could find himself facing an even more personal crisis. For years, Adam's relationship with Victor has been one of the most complicated dynamics in Genoa City. He has spent countless battles trying to secure his father's trust, often succeeding only after enduring painful setbacks and difficult sacrifices. Watching Matt suddenly receive opportunities that took Adam years to earn could reopen old insecurities that never fully disappeared. The fear of being replaced has haunted Adam before, and seeing Victor invest his time, patience, and faith in someone new might trigger those fears all over again. The emotional stakes would become even higher if Matt begins receiving responsibilities that place him closer and closer to the center of Victor's operations. What makes the situation especially dangerous is that Victor may not fully appreciate how deeply his decisions affect those around him. In his mind, rewarding Matt's efforts may simply be a logical response to genuine growth and accountability. Victor has always admired strength, resilience, and the ability to rise after failure. From his perspective, Matt may be demonstrating exactly those qualities. But while Victor sees determination and redemption, others may see favoritism and betrayal. The difference between those perspectives could create fractures that spread throughout the family, turning private frustrations into open confrontations. As history has shown time and time again, few things are more explosive than a Newman family dispute fueled by Victor's approval. The possibility of Matt eventually becoming one of Victor's most trusted allies only adds fuel to the fire. Every major organization needs loyal soldiers, and Victor has always valued individuals willing to prove themselves through action rather than words. Matt appears to be doing exactly that. He is not asking for rewards or recognition. He is simply putting his head down and doing the work. Ironically, that approach may be making him even more valuable in Victor's eyes. While others argue, challenge, or question him, Matt is steadily demonstrating obedience, reliability, and commitment, qualities Victor has always rewarded. As the weeks and months unfold, the line separating outsider from insider could begin to blur. People who once viewed Matt as a threat may suddenly find him participating in important conversations, handling sensitive assignments, and receiving access to information that only Victor's most trusted associates typically enjoy. Those developments would not go unnoticed. Every new responsibility would raise eyebrows. Every show of confidence would generate speculation. Before long, rumors could spread that Matt is no longer simply working for Victor, but is becoming part of the very foundation of his future plans. That possibility is precisely why the situation feels so volatile. Redemption stories are rarely simple, especially in Genoa City, where personal history has a way of resurfacing at the worst possible moment. Even if Matt genuinely changes, even if Victor's faith proves justified, the path ahead will be filled with obstacles. Old enemies will remain skeptical. Old wounds will continue to ache, and every step closer Matt takes toward the Newman inner circle will create fresh opportunities for conflict. The question is no longer whether Victor believes in him. The real question is whether everyone else can learn to accept what Victor has already decided. For now, one undeniable truth hangs over the entire situation like a gathering storm. Victor Newman's growing faith in Matt Clark is becoming impossible to ignore, and that faith could transform both of their futures. What started as an unlikely second chance is evolving into a relationship that may reshape alliances, ignite rivalries, and challenge the very definition of family within the Newman dynasty. If Matt truly is carving out a place as an honorary Newman, then the celebration of his redemption may ultimately be overshadowed by the complications that follow. In a world where loyalty is constantly tested and power is always shifting, Victor's newest act of trust could become the spark that sets off the next great chapter of drama in Genoa City. The deeper this story unfolds, the more it begins to feel like the opening chapter of a transformation that few people saw coming. Matt Clark's journey is no longer defined solely by the mistakes that once made him one of the most controversial figures connected to the Newman family. Instead, it is becoming a story about perception, trust, and whether a man can truly escape the shadow of his past. Every day that Victor Newman continues to stand behind him adds another layer of complexity to the situation. What once seemed impossible now feels increasingly plausible, and that reality is forcing everyone around them to reconsider assumptions they once believed were unshakable. In Genoa City, reputations often last forever, but Victor's support has a way of changing destinies, and Matt may be the latest example of that power. There is also something undeniably symbolic about the position Matt currently occupies. He stands between two worlds, the man he used to be and the man he hopes to become. The past constantly threatens to pull him backward, reminding everyone of the damage he caused and the trust he shattered. Yet the future offers something entirely different: the possibility of redemption, acceptance, and perhaps even belonging. Victor's willingness to keep giving him opportunities suggests that he sees potential where others see failure. That belief may become the foundation upon which Matt rebuilds his entire life. But foundations, no matter how strong, are always tested when pressure begins to mount. As Victor's confidence grows, so too does the possibility that Matt could become involved in matters far more significant than anyone currently expects. What begins with small assignments and demonstrations of loyalty could eventually evolve into genuine influence. Victor has never been the kind of man who invests his time in people without a purpose. He rewards dedication when he sees it, and he often places trusted individuals in positions where they can have a real impact. If Matt continues proving himself, he may find doors opening that once seemed permanently locked. Opportunities that were unimaginable a short time ago could suddenly become reality, placing him closer to the center of the Newman Empire than anyone thought possible. That prospect alone is enough to create waves of anxiety throughout the family. The Newmans have spent years navigating complicated relationships, shifting alliances, and fierce internal rivalries. Introducing someone like Matt into that delicate balance could disrupt everything. Even family members who try to remain neutral may struggle to understand Victor's reasoning. Some could interpret his actions as wisdom and foresight, believing that people deserve the chance to change. Others could see only danger, convinced that Victor is taking an unnecessary risk by placing faith in someone with such a troubled history. Those competing viewpoints have the potential to divide the family in ways that become increasingly difficult to repair. For Adam Newman, the emotional stakes may continue rising with every passing day. The possibility that Matt is stepping into territory Adam once considered his own could become impossible to ignore. Victor's approval has always carried enormous weight, and Adam knows better than anyone how difficult it is to earn. Watching Matt gain ground could trigger feelings Adam has spent years trying to overcome. Every compliment Victor gives Matt, every responsibility he hands him, and every display of trust could feel like a painful reminder of battles Adam fought throughout his entire life. Whether those feelings remain buried or erupt into open conflict remains to be seen, but the tension would undoubtedly continue building beneath the surface. At the same time, Victor himself may become increasingly determined to prove that his faith is justified. Once Victor commits to a decision, he rarely backs away from it simply because others disagree. In fact, opposition often strengthens his resolve. If family members challenge his support of Matt, Victor may respond by giving him even more opportunities to succeed. That pattern has repeated countless times throughout his life. The more resistance he encounters, the more determined he becomes to demonstrate that he is right. Such determination could accelerate Matt's rise and intensify the frustrations of those who believe Victor is making a mistake. Yet perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this evolving story is the strange emotional connection that appears to be forming between the two men. On the surface, their relationship is built on work, loyalty, and second chances. Beneath that surface, however, there may be something more complicated developing. Victor seems to recognize pieces of himself in people who refuse to stay down after failure. He respects fighters, survivors, and individuals willing to endure hardship in pursuit of a better future. Matt's willingness to confront his mistakes rather than run from them may have earned a level of respect that even he never expected. That respect could become the driving force behind a bond neither man anticipated. The irony is impossible to overlook. The very person who once caused the Newmans so much pain may eventually become one of Victor's most trusted allies. Such a development would be almost unbelievable to those who remember where this story began. Yet redemption arcs often follow unexpected paths, and Genoa City has never been a place where the impossible remains impossible for long. If Matt continues demonstrating loyalty, patience, and growth, the distance between outsider and insider may continue shrinking until it nearly disappears altogether. The question is whether everyone else will be willing to accept that transformation when it finally becomes undeniable. As the future unfolds, one thing seems certain. The consequences of Victor's growing faith in Matt are only beginning to emerge. What looks like a simple second chance today could evolve into one of the most controversial developments within the Newman family tomorrow. Alliances may shift, rivalries may intensify, old wounds may reopen, and long-standing relationships could face challenges unlike anything they have experienced before. Through it all, Matt will remain at the center of the storm, carrying both the burden of his past and the promise of his future. For now, the story remains poised on the edge of something much bigger. Victor Newman appears determined to see where Matt's path leads, regardless of the doubts surrounding them. Matt, meanwhile, seems equally determined to prove that he deserves the opportunity he has been given. Together, they are creating a partnership that grows more significant with each passing day. Whether that partnership ultimately strengthens the Newman legacy or tears it apart from within remains the question hanging over Genoa City. But if current events are any indication, the road ahead will be filled with emotional confrontations, surprising twists, and dramatic consequences that could reshape the Newman family for years to come.